Hello everyone and welcome to WWWhatwas Nxt for July 27th, 2016. How did the brand of the future rebuild after all the draft call-ups? Now there are two themes that were prevalent throughout this episode of NXT. Brooklyn and rebuild. I'm going to start with Brooklyn as we got basically the hint that three matches that will be taking place at NXT Brooklyn. The first being the sort of grudge match between No Way Jose and Austin Aries. Now I have to admit I haven't been a full fan of No Way Jose. I think I have three levels of what guys can be if they're kind of comedy acts. You can be silly, funny, or entertaining. I thought No Way Jose was going to be silly, what with the dancing and all that, but he did do a nice pivot tonight and actually gave a very, very intense promo. So what him and Aries could be doing at Brooklyn could actually be good. Then we got a couple no-brainer matches finally made with Bayley taking on Asuka. Kind of, sort of made official, but they're going to do a contract signing for that. And I'm assuming this will be Bayley's final hurrah in NXT. The storytelling makes sense. It's at Brooklyn where she was made a star. For her to go out there rather than, Dallas, which would have also made sense. Very curious to see how this is handled with her going up to the main roster, with the brand split and whatnot. Will she be a free agent? A lot of interest there. But the big man we saw tonight, the man everyone wanted and came to see, Wesley Blake. Wesley Blake. My God, that was uncomfortably quiet. I'm just going to leave this image of him getting his head kicked off by Shinsuke Nakamura here for no reason. But no, we did get the confirmation that it will be Joe and Nakamura for the belt at Brooklyn. This goes back to the part where I love about NXT is I don't know who's going to win this. Do they crown Shinsuke and then call Joe up to the main show? Or is Joe the one that knocks Shinsuke off? This is actually good booking because I don't know who's going to win, and it's not insulting, and it's good. And this is going to be a very, very stiff, hard-hitting match, and everyone's going to be excited, and they may chant Fight Forever. I don't know. Or they'll just sing Shinsuke's theme the entire time. The other theme of the night was rebuild. With a lot of the NXT talent since WrestleMania having been called to the main show, NXT kind of needed to refill the tanks. With Alpha and Enzo and Cass going up, NXT doesn't really have a top face tag team, which is where I think they're going to position TM61, and that's what this week was for, to kind of reintroduce these guys, show how good they are. Now, they don't really have anyone for them to go against. I don't think you hotshot them against Authors of Pain quite yet for Brooklyn. I think you may completely leave those two teams off of Brooklyn and just have it be Gargano and Ciampa against the Revival. But who knows? The tag division's going to need a little bit of a refresh. Then we did get confirmation we're going to see a new face and an old face coming back next week with the NXT debut of Bobby Roode and the return of Hideo Itami next week. And then the women's division got a bit of a refresh this week as well, as we had Elsa from Frozen take on Rainbow Bright. Not sure that's what the internet meant by give Elsa a girlfriend, but what do you do? All joking aside, Billie Kay and Santana had a good match. Really excited where Billie Kay's going. Both these girls showed they had that indie cred, that they had that kind of smoothness in the ring that some of these fitness model converts don't quite have. Excited to see how they're going to build the women's division back up, especially after Bayley leaves, when it's just Asuka there working with some of these more inexperienced younger talent. And then we had the surprise NXT debut of Kota Ibushi taking on Wesley Blake. Now, this was a welcome surprise, but a surprise nonetheless. I think this is a bad harbinger for Ibushi, since Ibushi has officially signed with NXT. I don't think he's winning the CWC, given that they gave him this kind of mainlining, headlining spot on NXT to introduce them to that audience. Granted, most of the NXT audience is that hardcore audience that immediately stayed on after NXT was over and watched the CWC. But Ibushi looked good. He kicked Blake's head into the front row. Just give this a listen.
Right.
Oh God, that had to hurt. Even if it is meant to not hurt. But yeah, NXT looks to be restocking and then refocusing. It's a shame they're going to be having to do basically a rebuild on the road to Brooklyn, but I think the top of the card for Brooklyn with Joe and Nakamura, Bailey, Asuka is strong enough to carry it. All in all, this wasn't a great episode of NXT, but it wasn't bad. Believe me, you can go back a couple years and see some bad episodes of NXT. But for me, I'm done for the day, and that WW What Was NXT.